welcome to this new episode of Continuum Gaming, this time around in English, as you already have noticed probably. And this time around I want to show you 3 different games again, and this time this will be Sunset Bike Racer, Blocky Road Racer, and probably Fight of the Queen 4 or something. It's called Kampf der Königin, hier in German, but that would be the proper translation, I think. And as always, I'm using a certain setup here, and that contains of this Foldable keyboard for the keyboard input I need to play these games with. And then we have this Arc mouse, which is for mouse input, of course. In this episode I won't be using the Xbox One as wireless controller, you see here. It's only being set at the side here because I don't have any kind of game in this lineup here that can be played with the Xbox One as wireless controller or any kind of gamepad. And of course the main device in this episode again is of course the Lumia 950 XL I have here. It has a Mozo cover at the back. You probably will notice a new one maybe in the next episode, I don't know, because I bought the leather one and I want to change that now. Still, I think the Mozo cover I have here, this is saber wood, is probably the best I have, but we will see. Just to have a little bit of different stuff here from time to time, I want to try it out. Anyway, so this is a Continuum game or Continuum based smartphone which has an USB-C port at the bottom here and can be connected like that with the display dock at this point, and the display dock itself is connected again with the HDMI port of my TV here in this case, and like that I can use this desktop kind of experience I have here to, for example, play games in our case or do other stuff with it. If you want to know more about that, please have a look at the corner up there. You will find one of the videos I did before there, which might explain that a little bit more in detail. And then I would say I have talked enough, and we can start with the first game here, which is Sunset Bike Racer. So first off I have to go to my all apps list here. And there it is already, Sunset Bike Racer. Let's have a look what that is. In the end it's quite a common game more or less, so we are going to play with it. And there is of course a bike involved, a motorbike in this case, and we have to go uphill and downhill with it and try not to fall over and stuff like that. The interesting part about it and why it is called Sunset Bike Racer is that there is more or less only a kind of shadow going on here, so you only see this kind of black biker here, quite nice. You see that? I will turn down the music a little bit, and now we can just use our mouse, for example, to click on OK here, or we can, as you can see, click on our keyboard if you want to, with, for example, the Enter key or whatever that is placed here. So using the keyboard in this case, as I will do, can show you what's going on here, and there are the little icons which should help you to see what's going on and what you can do here. Okay, so let's turn it down a little bit more even. You see it's quite a happy, funny music here, and this is more or less what the game is all about. Have fun with it. And it's version 37 as you can see, so quite old this game. Whatever. As you can see, we can play with a carrier mode, or we can, for example, have a look at the update stuff we can do to our motorbike here. Of course I played this already, so we can, for example, have some kind of an update. You see this is your money you have for that, and as you can see we have to update that quite a lot if we want to get more and better stuff. As you can see, we can, for example, get the wheel stuff here for watching one of the videos here from them, or better say an advertisement. And other stuff can be updated with this, so I'm going to do that now, whatever. And from time to time you get this kind of free update with by watching one of the videos here. Okay, so let's say this is all we want to do here now. You can of course go to this part here and have a look at different races and other people, whatever you want to call that. And of course, if you want to get, for example, this Booker, which is more or less another kind of driver or whatever, and then you have to go to this, buy this, but we can't do that at the moment. So let's go back. And yeah, let's just start with our first game here. So clicking on that, as you can see, we have a couple of different options here to play with. And as you can see, we can, for example, go with 4 at this point because I already played it a lot, and like that we are already in that kind of direction there. Okay, so what you want to use here is, of course, your keyboard with the WASD part, for example. And like that, we can play this. And as you can see, there is this kind of other guy who is running around here too. So we all know that already from different games here that there are different options for that. This one is not very... don't crash. Well, okay, I crashed. But as you can see, we have this kind of shadowy guy which is following us here quite nicely. And you already know that, for example, from other games there are a couple of them, and in this case you just have to beat that guy more or less to get more and more points, and of course to see how to drive through this. It's easier to have a look at that. So why not, let's try it once again. I'm not going to play it very long. In this case, as you can see, there is our other guy. I'm just using the WASD keys at this point to drive around here, and I barely managed to be faster than my opponent there, the shadow opponent guy. And as you can see here too, it's a really pleasure to do that, and like that I get some kind of a more or less epic music at the end. And of course you get some kind of an rating at this point. So if you're going to be faster than 30 seconds or at least 30 seconds fast, then you are going to get all the 3 stars, and like that you can play this game and yeah, become better and better and try to be better all the time here. It would be very cool if this game would support the Xbox One Wireless controller, but I have to more or less let you down there because it's not going to happen. This is not supported at the moment, at least, and so we have to play with our keyboard. But quite nice, I like this game, it has some kind of flair to it, and you should try it if you didn't try that kind of game till now. Okay, so let's have a look at the second game we are going to have in this episode, which is called Blocky Road Racer. So I'm going to open up the All Apps list at this point, go to this, go to Blocky Road Racer, there we are. And this is more or less, everything that is called Blocky, you already know that, is more or less like a pixelated game. In this case, a 3D pixelated game. I like it quite much, if you ask me. What you are going to do is you are driving through traffic jams, more or less, or at least traffic, or heavy traffic, whatever. And you are trying to drive through that without crashing into other cars, and by, for example, driving very close to other cars through the lines here, you are getting more and more money from that. And as you may already have heard here, we have some kind of a very rocky-like tune in the back. And all you have to do now is, for example, click on play to go in, or you should have a look at the settings at the first, because it highly depends on what you want to use for the controls. I wouldn't suggest to use the orientation of your device for driving here, because if you are going to use it with Continuum, it's not a good idea to do that, because your smartphone is typically lying on the ground or something, and in some cases then there are some kind of drifty feelings and stuff like that involved, because it's just not really straight on the ground, but there is a little bit of tilting or whatever, and like that you should just go and click on WASD in this case to play this game. If you did that, you can of course, for example, have a look at the quality settings or the music settings here, whatever you want to do, and you can have a look at the FPS counter. This is more or less in the 40s to 50s on my smartphone here, so quite playable. Whatever you want to set up there, just do that. Then we can have a look at the store at this point, where you can see different cars you can buy later on at least. You can see we have top speeds, we have handling stuff and so on, so different properties for all the cars we have here. And there are a couple of cars available here. Of course, none of them are really affordable at the start, so you should start with the standard car at this point and just try to get better and better, because you can collect the money there, and of course you can buy it, but I wouldn't suggest you to do that. But in the case you want to support the developer, for example, you can of course do that. But in general, as you can see, here are really a lot of different cars, and not everything that is expensive is really more or less recommendable, because, for example, handling at 2 is really bad. And you will notice how much handling is really needed for all this kind of stuff and to play this game in a good way. So go back and just let's have a look at the mission here, or whatever, the game itself, and just click on that. As you can see, we have a car now driving at 20 miles per hour, I think. I'm not sure, you can increase or decrease that, but you can't go lower than 20 miles per hour. And as you can see, we can now try to drive through this. What I have already noticed is that, for example, if you're driving at 20 miles per hour, your car is really hard to steer around. So driving faster makes it a little bit easier, because it's a little bit faster to drive with that. Okay, there you saw we can collect more or less this kind of different stuff here. And what you already saw at the beginning is that there are going to be traffic crashes, for example. So people are going to make it harder for you to drive around, and if you, as I did already here, if you are really just slightly trying to crash into someone else, it's not going to happen, you are going to die with that, and then you have to start again. Yeah, what's up with this is more or less all you already saw, so be very careful of what the other members in the traffic here do, or the other traffic guys do at this point. There, for example, is some kind of more or less kind of way. There you see cars are going to drive from lanes to lanes to make it far more difficult for you, and bad for me again. And as you can see, it's quite slow at the start, but you can extremely increase that by just pressing the by just pressing the up key. So in my case, the W key, and then you have a lot of a better car feeling here. But of course, it's it can be a little bit harder. Depends on what you are going to do here. And then just try to drive around, get, for example, all these parts, and try to collect, for example, all the coins and stuff like that. It's really a nice game. You really have to have a look at where you are driving and be very careful about what you how you are driving. So don't try to push someone away or something. You see, you're going to die with this very fast. But I really like it somehow, and it's a fast-paced game if you're going to go with the W key or the up key, whatever you're using in this case. And it's really fun to drive then. So let's have a look at that. If you like it, try it out. You can see we have different kind of cars we can buy with it, and it's really a nice little thing to do here. Yeah, so let's close that one down too, and have a look at the last game in our episode this time around. That is Fight of the Queen 4, or Kampf der Königin 4, whatever you want to call it. And this is more or less an adventure game. You already know some of them. It's again from Artificial Mundi, but I really like it somehow. And I just wanted to show you what this is all about. It's Kampf der Königin 4, or what the translation would be Fight of the Queen 4. In the end, it's about... I reset it, I hope it worked, and we can see the first parts there again. So click on this now, and let's have a look. What we are going to experience here is more or less a little story in, concerning elves and and humans in the end, and a couple of other species like dwarves and stuff like that are going to happen here. So we are in... Okay, let's watch this.
There was a time when war raged over the 5 realms. Dwarves, halflings, goblins, elves, and humans, blinded by rage and greed, marched fiercely towards each other, burning and butchering as they came. Then an old druid appeared and soothed the rage of the races. The 5 realms signed the sacred truce, and the Peacekeeper Guild was born. But after what humans did to us, Saddletown will burn in the fire of justice.
Yeah, and as you already have heard from her, there are more or less different races which are fighting against each other, and then the droids are going to get all of this handled more or less with special kind of treatment. I don't know what this is already. It has a lot to do with magic, if you ask me. And what you will see there is, for example, the droid has some kind of a magic book, and they more or less can force peace on other races, or whatever you want to call it. It's a little bit strange, but whatever. Let's give us a good name here. In my case, Furo CG, as you all know already. And I'm going to click on that. And what you can see here is it's more or less in a fantasy setup here, what we are going to play. I'm going to play this a little bit, but I don't even think that we are going to play the whole prologue section through, because in the end it's really, really long this time around, and I just don't want to play all that long, because the video would be extremely long if I did that. So let's start with it. Just click on play here. Now you can see we can choose between the main adventure more or less, but the main adventure is not yet available. So we are going to go with the prologue at this point. Here you can, for example, select which kind of difficulty level you can play here. Can't speak at the moment. This is of course the easiest one, so I'm going to play with that. As I told you before, I'm a bit story player. I want to know the story.
Call for help from Erastus, the mayor of Saddletown. The Elf King has been attacked, and the elves blame humans of Saddletown for it. Erastus doesn't know why. My mission is to call both sides to peace with the power of sacred truce and discover the culprit for the attack on the Elf King. I'm almost in Saddletown. Just... What was that? Has the war already begun? I better hurry.
Yeah, and as you already have seen here, we are more or less a droid, and we are trying to settle peace between both of the races here. So the race of the elves in this case, and the race of the humans. And somehow the elves have been attacked recently, and so it's probably that they are trying to fight against the humans, because they think that the humans started this all. But in the end, I can't spoiler you there, it's not the humans, but whatever. Let's see who it is. First off, we more or less drop to the ground and need to go up again, and so we have a couple of different things here. We can play an interactive introduction here, and I think I will do that first. So of course we can grab stuff, we can interact with that grabbed stuff, so we can, for example, open our backpack here and have a look at different stuff that is in there. And what we need here is more or less stuff to climb up a hill, so we are going to use this, of course. And this is more or less it for that. Now we can have, for example, a look at the spells we already got, but there are no spells at the moment, so we don't really need to go there. And they are just telling us what the interface is. Now let's have a look at this part. So the first game will be that we need to use our climbing tools here to go up and go back to the street where we were on. So let's try to go up there. What you can see here is it's not going to be extremely easy, because let's have a look at the task here. Task is go to Saddletown, which is the village of the town of the humans. And as you can see, we have different stuff to do here. So we can, for example, collect items. We can, of course, use our tip. So if we don't know how this is going to be or what we have to do next, let's have a look at the tip and use that. And after that, let's see what we have to do here. And first off, we are going to climb up a hill, and it's going to take some time. So first off, just have a look and try to find a way up. For example, with this part, I'm going to use that now. And now you should, for example, have a look at this little icon here, or this little rock part, whatever. And you have to find that on the image here, so that you can use your tools to go up to the higher place there. I'm going to turn down the music a little bit more, because it's just a little bit too hard to do that. In the end, this is not extremely easy. So if you just want to click around, this is possible too. It really doesn't matter. All you have to know is that it's more or less always this kind of form you have to form to go up with that. And yeah, you barely have to get the really right position there. If you got that, just climb up again. And this is going to take some time, so we are not going to be through at the first screen or something. I think it's 3 screens or something, I'm not sure at the moment. So let's have a look. There is, of course, some kind of wind, which is making it harder for us to find everything. But as I told you before, you can, for example, just try to search for the parts you see there, or you just go up as fast as you can by, for example, clicking around. I don't think there's some kind of penalty if you click too often on a different part or something. You can, of course, do it like that. If you want really to play this game, you might want to do it differently, but as I said, it should work in both directions. Let's have a look. I don't know where the last part was here. Probably that one. Where is it? A little bit harder to find than the other parts here. There we are. And now we can go up. And there is our track to go up. So just click on it, and now you're probably going to see another one. So in this case, we just have to do exactly the same, more or less. Yeah, some bats flying around there, whatever, doesn't really matter for us, not bad for us in any kind of way. So let's see where we have to go here. Not sure at the moment. Ah, okay. And there we are. Next way solved, and we have to do that again, I think. Ah, no. we got to the top now.
There's the Saddletown sign, but the road is blocked.
And we have to go there, but as you can see there is some kind of a guy blocking the street because he broke down his wagon there.
Don't fight! No! Easy!
And you already can see that there is something going on because here is some kind of a deer type of whatever animal who is...
Elves attacked Saddletown. We barely managed to escape, but then this stupid elf jammed the wheel and broke its muzzle. Please, fetch me the spare muzzle and buckle.
So, and what you have to find now is more or less something for this deer here to go on. So first off we need to get some kind of a part to do it. As you can see there are always these little kind of indicators, whatever you want to call that. It's more or less a light that is bubbling around. And with these kind of indicators you can, for example, see
No! Easy. Calm down.
that, for example, we can find our first item we have to give him. So first off, go out there, and I'm going to go in here
No! Easy. Calm down.
and give it to him. So this is the first one. Second one is something we need to put over his mouth there. So let's have a look what we need to do here. There was a collectible again, as you can see, and now I can, for example, click on that. There would be the part which goes over his mouth, but the problem is we can't get to that at the moment.
No!
Okay,
Easy.
so
Calm down.
let's have a look what we can do. Of course we need something to get it, and as you can see we can collect, for example, the stick and use our inventory then. This is nothing we can do at the moment. Go up there, go to this inventory
No! Easy.
and
Calm
get
down.
that part down there, go to
Don't
this
fight. No!
and
Easy. Calm
put it
down.
on the deer more or less.
Thank you, kind man. If you help me with that jammed wheel, I will give you the map of these parts for free. Yes?
So next we need to have a look at the stones next to the wheel, which are more or less blocking it. And he is giving us something. Take that.
Every adventurer surely needs a map.
It's more or less a scale. And we already saw something like that. I think it's placed somewhere here. Yeah. This is something you're going to see in the game all over again, because it's always some kind of a key which has some kind of a symbol feeling. So just put those in place, and now we can open this little part at the back here. Go to that, and now we have a little bit of a Wimmer build game here, so search and found games. You can, for example, play something else if you want to. So, for example, clicking on this. Now we have some kind of a memory game. If you want to use that, it's fine too. Whatever you want to play here, in the end, it's all about these parts which have the white, the white theme more or less. So try to get rid of the white parts, and then you will more or less solve this puzzle. If you're going to play all the time with the other parts, then it's not going to work. And what you have to do here is just use different symbols, bring them next to each other. It can be diagonal, and then you can, for example, do the part here. If we do that, we have some kind of movement in this part, and sooner or later you will be able to solve this then. It can be very fast, it can take quite some time. It really depends on what you are playing here and if you have luck or not. As you can see, at the moment we have quite a good run, but this might not be the case in all the cases here. For example, now we probably have it a little bit harder to do it, but we will see. So it's all about the symbols, of course, not much about the not much about the color or something. We have to know that here. And I'm just going to solve this as fast as I can. There we are. And now we can have more or less this toolbox. We can go to the wheel now, have a look in the toolbox, so open it up, and we get some kind of part which we can use to get rid of the stone here. So use the hammer on this one and just kill the stone more or less, and after that we can we have more or less done the first part here.
Excellent.
Thanks for helping more or less.
Map free of charge.
We get this kind of a map here. Okay, that's fine, we take that, and now he's more or less giving us a way to where we have to go here. So clicking, yeah, of course we can have a look at the map here. As you can see, we are already here and we want to go there, of course, and I'm going to do that now, clicking on that. And now we come into the town, and you might already notice it.
Oh no, the town. Who is that? Wait, don't!
There is somebody who destroyed our statue of a droid, and that is not a nice thing to do here. And as you can see, it's really all more or less messed up. We have some kind of war going on here already, and yeah, fire all around. And there is something we can have a look at. If I click on that, as you can see, the first parts are dropping down, but the last one needs to be get rid of in another way. So let's have a look around. We can, for example, get rid of all the stones here, collect different parts, and see there is something we need. I think this is more or less all we can do at the moment here. Yeah, as you can see, elves have attacked us, and now we can use this kind of part or tool to get our door open.
Mad, bloodthirsty elves! Poor man, is he hurt?
Yeah, and as you can see, there is more or less the last survivor of this massacre, or whatever you want to call it. And this is the mayor.
There's the hand of the druid. He must be the mayor of Saddletown.
And
He bears the hand of the druid. He must be the mayor of Saddletown.
right, the problem with the mayor of Saddletown is that he has some kind of a round at the top here, at the head, and we have to have a look how to get rid of that, or better to say how to threat him here, there. So let's have a look into his house. They're telling us that we can go back, of course. Probably we are forced to do that now first, but we need to go back again. This is not some kind of advice on how to work here, but it's some kind of an introduction again. So let's see what we can find here at this place. There are different things we can see here, and more or less have a look at the part there. We can't go back there, so it doesn't really help us, but we can have a look at his desk more or less, because he is some kind of a person who can work with spices and stuff like that, and so we may be able to get something out of this. So let's see what we can see here, and as you can see, there is a part or a book more or less about how to heal people. And this is quite helpful for our proposal here, because we find more or less a recipe how to solve his wound on the head. Okay, so let's have a look at that. We need some kind of this part. It's called Ingwer in German. I'm not sure what the English equivalent of that is. Whatever, we need to cut that in slices or whatever. we need to have some kind of reliefs here. This is called Salbei in German. I don't know what the English word for that is. And as you can see, we have a couple of different things here we can use. And there is of course more to it. So let's go back and find the different ingredients here. So the different ingredients are more or less placed all over the place, but one is here, and we can, for example, take this, because this can be used as more or less medical equipment. And now we have to find these little kind of leaves here all over the place. There are a lot of them. I think it's 12, yeah, 12 of them. We just have to click around and find all the leaves here. It's not very hard to do, as you may already have noticed, but just do it. And after a little while you will find whatever you need here. Maybe in here there is one. Not sure where the last one is. There. The little indicator lights are more or less helping you a lot here, if you don't know where to search for that. We already have 11 of that, and that seems to be enough. Don't know why, because there is already this 12th part, and I saw it before, but whatever. It helps if you find 11 of that. So go back to the part here, and let's put our leaves down, and let's use our part. At this point it's a bandage we can use there. As you can see, we are going to need all of that part. So at the end we need this bandage part, we need of course the leaves to work with, and different other stuff. For example, there is something missing, as you can see at this point. So let's have a look. I already played this game, of course, so I can tell you where this is going to be. It's more or less something the mayor is carrying around, if I don't mistake. I think I do. Yeah, I confused it with the other position of that, whatever. Let's have a look where we can find that again. And as I mentioned before, if you don't know where to go next, just use this, for example. And we should have a look at our kit at this point, okay? Don't know why at the moment, because this is not really important for us. Because we don't have any kind of spells at the moment, so just get out of here. Don't know why. It needs a little bit of time till the tip is available again, so let's have a look at different parts here. What we are going to need later on is of course the different places here. For example, what you can see at this point is that we have some kind of carrots lying around at this point. So this is a little indication what we need to do later on. And here's another one. For example, we need this chain to be gone sooner or later. So just to see that, if we go to this part, there is more or less our Yum Yum friend we already have information about. He doesn't want to go away there because he wants his carrots, so we need to have a look to get some kind of carrot.
You want a carrot?
He's telling us that more or less at this point. And as you can see, we need some kind of another part here. It's more or less a whistle and the carrot itself to solve this puzzle. So I'm not sure if we are going to play all of these again, but we will see. And now we need to have a look where to find this other part. So let's see. Here is our little missing piece, more or less. This is something we can't solve at the moment, so let's go back at this point. Put this oil there. And I think now we are ready to go. And now first off, as we can see at this point, cut through this part, okay? That's the first one. And then of course we need to do the same with our leaves at this point. Now put in first the first ingredients and the second ingredients and try to... Yeah, try to mix that more or less. After that, as you can see, the next part is that we need to light up our fire so we can make this water boil. Okay, next part is we need to turn the wheel at this point. Is it? Ah, no, okay. First we need to input this, so we can, for example, get the ingredients in later on. Then we need to put in a little bit of the oil. Otherwise it's blue and we want it to be more or less yellow or whatever. Or red at the moment, and after that yellow. Okay, so let's turn this to a green flame. So now this should be fine. Put in the ingredients now. You can see everything I'm doing here is more or less noticeable at this point there. And now let's do that again till it's blue. And there we have it. Now it's boiling more or less. After that we can take that, put it on the bandage at this point. And now just take the bandage, and this is more or less what we have to do for this mini game and to get our Maya up and running again. So let's go back. As you can see, there are always achievements for stuff like that. And now let's go to our Maya again and put this on his face. And like that.
Peacekeeper, help us! Mad, bloodthirsty elves, they attacked us. But if you bring the sacred truce to their king, the war will stop. Unlock my secret room to find the sacred truce inside my diary.
Yeah, and there you can see we have to find the secret truce, which...
Hand key to unlock the diary.
There's the mayor! Get him!
And there's an elf fighting against us now. Okay, bad guy coming around. And now this is quite a nice thing, because we have some kind of a fighting game here now. And what you can already see is that we need to use our own magic to fight against him. And the fighting game is more or less about all the runes you see here and the runes he has as a defense mechanism. This is more or less to attack, this is his defense. And what you can see, we need to get one of the runes in which none of the symbols we see at this point is more or less used in this. And if we find some of that, then we can attack him, otherwise he will block us. So first off, let's have a look. This part has a rune which is not available, or is more or less available, so we can't use that. Let's have a look at the second one here. This looks promising. Yeah, this is a promising one. The other ones are not going to help us, so let's click on that and...
You pay for your meddling.
Yeah, he's a little bit upset with me to do that. And now we just have to play that through. It's going to be a couple of times, I think. This one is not possible. This one is not possible neither. This one might be the one. Okay.
You pay for your meddling.
Worked. And we have to do that for the third time. And as you can see, we are getting more and more runes to play with. This one is not possible. Not possible neither. This one might be possible. Let's see. No. Has this symbol in it. Let's have a look at this one. This is not possible neither, because the stick thing or whatever is available. So I think this should be the right one. And let's click on that. And as you can see, we had our first duel here. And we got rid of the elf. And the elf took our mayor with him. But the good thing is, he already told us what we have to do here. So, I will not play this to the end, as I mentioned before. It's quite a long way to play this. But let's have a look first if we can find something else. As you can see, we want something to be happening here, and there's a little indication that the Yum Yum creature, for example, might help us with that. First off, let's have a look at the top here, go up, and the mayor already gave us this little key, so we can put that in here and go up to the upper part here. Okay, now we need to cross this. Because of the wall there was something happening here, so we need to cross this, so make us a little bit of a bridge. Let's have a look at this part. As you can see, we have some kind of carrots here, we will need that later on. And now let's see what we can do here. The problem with the carrots is we can't open it at the moment, so let's go back, go over here.
The hand key is missing. Maybe I can make it if I have the right tools and ingredients.
And we need to now do a key in form of a hand, more or less, and because of that, as you can see at this point, and because of that we need to find different things. First off, I will catch this knife, more or less, to open our stuff. I think this is more or less all I can do here. Let's go back and go to our carrots again, open this up. And now we have found some carrots for the Yum Yum creature, which of course we need to have because the creature has something where it can help us. So next let's have a look at this part. Okay, there is more or less the mayor or something and somebody else who may be a trader, as it's written here, Verräter in German. And yeah, let's use this too. We will need it later on. Just collect everything you find. If you can, for example, collect it, you will need it in the game sooner or later. And after that, I think we are through with this. We can have a look at this part again, but as I mentioned before, we can't do it at the moment. So let's go back. Oh, I think I forgot something which is very important for us. We have to have a look at this part, because it's a little bit hard to see, but this is a Yum Yum creature or Yum Yum creature we want to get there, and there is some kind of sound symbols here. So what we need to get is a whistle. And yeah, first off, just open up this part by clicking on this and turning it. Now we have the whistle, more or less, which we need later on to call Yum Yum for eating. And as you can see now, this is all we can get here at the moment, but we will have to come back to this. Okay, so next, let's give our Yum Yum creature his carrots, and he will not notice that till you use the whistle on it here. Okay, and that is working too. So Yum Yum is coming, and I think I'm not going to do a lot more than this. As you can see, we now have to have a look at Yum Yum, for example. Yum Yum is happy with that. As you can see, we can get this part, more or less. So get something to get that off. And as you can see, this is the next key part we have for the cupboard, more or less. And as you can see, here is something in this outlined way, which needs to be placed there. It's more or less a saddle and stuff like that, and some kind of a saddle and something to put below that. And this is more or less what you have to do here. Yeah, in the end, what you have to manage here is to get the mayor back and to go to the next city here to be able. You will have, for example, to create your own key at this point. So you will go to the tool work there and work with tools, for example, to get this stuff all out there. You will have to have this kind of part there. I'm not going to spoil you what this is used for, but it's really a nice little game, and just try it out. It really makes a lot of fun to solve all these puzzles. Yeah, and just to stop this now, because I think I'm already quite long talking here, I just wanted to show you this game, so have a look at it. It really is fun. Okay, so I think we are at the end of this episode. I hope you had fun with it. I hope that you found some of the games very interesting and you want to play them. Just try them out. They're more or less all quite great, and you should have a look at them. So, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Have a look at the commentary section if you have any kind of questions, or you want, for example, to give me a thumbs up for this video. I, of course, highly appreciate that. And if you didn't subscribe till now, you might want to do that at the button below. And other than that, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. See you in the next episode next week. And till then, have a nice time and bye-bye.